Hey guys, hope you're having a great day as well as a great life. Super excited today, hitting some freaking yes. And this is, in terms of song title, this is where you come in, Alex?
Siberian Catru, I'm going to go with. Survey says there's no one here to answer it, so I'm going to say yes. I say it's correct. Yes.
Whenever we get hard words, we, definitely
delegate them appropriately.
Yep. We employ our team to the best of, in accordance to its capabilities.
That's true. That's very true. So Siberian Catru is what we're going with. Now I made the grave sin of playing a second of this before we started because I was like clicking on the song, and I was just going, man, I'm really into Yes. We've hit a lot of great Yes songs, but I feel like it's been a while since we've hit something that gave me the same energy and feel as like Roundabout. Mm-hmm. And as soon as it started, I was like, oh man, maybe it's gonna be it.
It sounded dope.
It sounded really dope.
That one evil second I also heard, which is a sin, and we're gonna
flagellate ourselves later.
Yep.
But in the meantime, let's just. You can see the screen's nice and tight. We're ready. We're not even going to zoom in for this. We're already in a position of readiness.
Yeah.
We're very accepting. So let's do it.
Let's freaking go. Whoa. So cool.
Yeah.
Oh my god. So cool.
Can I turn this up while we're listening?
God. Going off. Holy shit.
Gosh, dude. They built to something so freaking cool. I mean, the whole thing was cool.
How
but
do
like,
you write songs? Like, I'm not a musician. I'm a noodler.
yeah,
That's how that feels. I don't know.
Like, this feels like the complication of a math problem, like a college level, like high experimental math. Like, this feels like somebody's trying to do topology with their eyes closed and their hands like tied. This is a lot.
What on earth?
I don't know. I need a moment
Dude,
of
this
silence.
is.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
Yes.
It feels like they package like 7 other bands, like prog bands, full albums level of intricacy into an 8-minute chunk, but yet somehow make it digestible.
Yeah, because all that still felt. I mean, I'm not gonna say easy listening, for like all people or anything, but overall, I didn't have to do. I didn't think I had to do much work for that song. Like they did a lot of the work. There weren't any like. They didn't do any crazy rhythm things that you have to like super. Like readjust yourself or like reevaluate or like re-zero in your life or anything.
And the fact that they did have
that.
a bunch of wild polyrhythms that I definitely couldn't count, but I noticed they were wild. And then some interesting time signatures, especially towards the end.
Mm-hmm.
And both of those they made feel really fluid, which is I think the best way. Like anytime you have a weird meter of time, if it feels clunky, then you didn't do it right. Like in my opinion,
it has to groove somehow.
Like think of "Money" by Pink Floyd, right?
Yeah.
That's in like 7/4 or something.
Yeah.
And it doesn't feel like it. Like if you were just if you had no idea of different time signatures and you're listening to it, you'd be like, oh, it's like just normal music. So stuff like that, when you do it in a really passive way that just blends in with what the rest of the music you hear is, that's when I think you do a really good job at it. And I think they did a phenomenal job with this. The bass tone was impeccable as always.
It was so good.
It's so good. It's
Like,
so good.
Ridiculous amounts of good.
Like that's an S tier based tone. Like specifically the tone of the bass. The guitar work was excellent. I loved the way it progressed and slowly got more interesting and more wild and more chaotic as the song went on.
Mm-hmm.
And it started crazy, but it kind of, it almost felt like it started like a sprinter off the gate, like really fast, and then kind of got into a comfortable stride, and then towards the end of the song it just put on the jets like the anchor of some like rowing team, just being like, all right, this is the last bit that we need to do, we're gonna push it into high gear.
And and I love their use of freaking the synth. Like one thing I can pull out right now that I thought was freaking awesome how they used it was towards the end of the song. There are these like different breakdown regions, and it's almost like like going in different ways, and it almost feels like a halftime snare in terms of like the intensity it's bringing.
Yeah.
Where it's a freaking synth. And everything else is going so fast, and it's still going fast. It's like eighth note, like pause, 8th note, pause, like on off kind of thing, and just bouncing like around up and down in a clunky fashion, but pushing the same way that snare would. And the whole time that snare is doing wild shit, where it's like hitting, and then like I'm like counting. I'm like, okay, wait, are you hitting twice now or just the once? Like, and then it's like 2 bars later, it's like the pattern goes beyond like a bar or 2 bars. It's like
that's what I mean by the weird
thing.
Meters.
Yeah.
Like that, like. But it still feels right. Like, unless you're actively trying to figure out what they're doing, it feels normal. And the second you're like, but what are you doing? It's like all of a sudden utter confusion. It's like that meme with the lady with the math symbols.
Yeah. I think the only way you write stuff like this is just have a cool thought and then follow the fun, right? Like,
yeah, I think so. Be musical geniuses probably helps.
A pattern I saw is that they would bring the song into a place where it almost like has some kind of atmospheric like pulsing.
Yeah.
And then it kind of like drops from that into a dope groove. And then it would kind of like lead you until you're lost in the sauce, and then you're lost in the sauce, and then you get another pulsing like atmospheric like thing, and then into a groove again.
Yeah. Some of my favorite,
it was in waves.
Some of my favorite Yes stuff almost feels like avant-garde Pink Floyd with better musicians. Or like more technically proficient musicians.
Yeah.
Like it almost gives me the same feeling of Echoes at moments where it's like throwing you into this wild chaos, but in a comforting way. Like we're holding your hand through this riptide.
Yeah. Almost like Floyd and like Rush a little bit had a baby.
Yeah.
Like a tiny bit there.
Yeah. It's just incredible, man.
I think this might be one of my favorite Yes songs, if not my favorite one, like besides like Roundabout.
Yeah, it's hard because Close to the Edge also is amazing. Starship Trooper is still really good.
It's true.
It's like kind of whatever the last one you listened to was your favorite, at least for me. But this is definitely.
But a lot of the other ones, like there are maybe tiny things that I'm not like where not that it drags, but I'm just not as into it. Whereas like I feel like with this,
the whole thing,
all of it was freaking dope.
This might be one of the most the Venn diagram of palatability to complexity. I think they nailed it perfectly.
Like, and you want to show off like their skill set, like someone's first Yes song, like it's like what's the best first Yes song to show somebody, and then the thumbnail is like, and it's not Roundabout. It's like fucking this one, dude. Like there's so much.
Yeah, it's probably true.
And the vocals have really good, cool moments too. I didn't catch a lot of the lyrics, but there were different like moments where like just the tone and the melody of it.
Also,
like,
I think
just
this is A+.
So nice.
We didn't rate it yet.
Oh yeah, I think A+ too.
Okay,
A+ for me as well. God, dude, I freaking one thing I was thinking in the middle of the song, for one, like I miss Prague. That was the first thing.
Yeah.
And two, like our rating system. I was like, how do we even like rate? Like, it feels like our rating system almost is now kind of has been zeroed in and like chipped, like, you know, and molded like a model with like a pop mindset a little bit, which isn't like a bad thing. It's a standard kind of like songwriting thing.
Yeah.
But like stuff like this, it's like, where does that like fall in? It's like crazy.
The way I always try to take it is like, one, what were they going for?
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. This wasn't a pop song.
Yep.
But with that being said, not only what were they going for, but what is my take as a listener? Because there were still some catchy elements that I would consider as like pop elements, even in this wild prog shit.
How they like resolve like chords and melodies and stuff. Like they make it like that's where it's like nice for the listener that you're candy nature.
Yeah. So it's like I try to give it both aspects, and that's why we can listen to like a goofy song sometimes and be like, that's like whatever. What was that one we did? The Top Gun song.
Oh, Danger Zone.
Danger Zone. That's in whatever, the A+ or something.
Yeah, I think we said A+. Yeah.
Like
in terms of like song. An '80s movie song, like for sure.
Like what were they going for? They nailed it. They're not going for what Yes is going for. Because if they were, I mean, that's an F, right? You did not get even close.
Yeah, it's like in terms of the cosmos, like we're in different like sections, like when addressing the two different songs. But like
it's like I almost think of it as like a color spectrum. Like that's a blue and this is a yellow, and it's like I'm not gonna grade this blue on the yellow scale. I'm just gonna say how much do I like that blue.
Yeah, exactly.
So I don't know. It's a lot, but this is incredible. Let us know where we need to go with Yes next. And
gosh, let's go.
Let's do it.
Peace. All right, guys, thanks so much for watching. If you have not already seen our reaction to the Police album Regatta de Blanc, go ahead and check that out right here. Enjoy. It's a great freaking time. See ya.